Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Pumping out tons of content this week. So the video for today is I guess I'll call it the Fat Cat Project. Big bore's mounted up. Do want to say thank you to everyone that helped me out, figure out some stuff, and I figured out some stuff on my own. And yes, we are going to do the alloy caps and pivot. I wanted to make sure everything worked, lined up, and man, it turned out pretty good. So, thank you to the guys across the pond. Matthew Turks, U8400 extended. So then what I did was, I was going to use, like on the back, I used a Grippa ball cup. But on the front, I used these, and I can see why. They give you a little bit more length. There's a bushing at the bottom, so I can take the screw out and not have to worry about popping it off. And then what I did was to keep the shock angle in the front correct. I put a 2mm spacer. It's hard to see, but there's a 2mm spacer behind here. There's the ball end. The screw goes in there and still captured by a locking nut. And that keeps the angle of shock correct. So instead of it being a little bit more stood up, it is back to where it needs to be, I believe, I guess. We'll find out. So 1.8 piston in the front, 32.5 weight oil, stock black spring. Rear, 1.9 piston, 30 weight oil, stock green spring. And then, like I said, it's hard to see. Yeah, there you can see it. Did do the Grippas on the bottom for these. And man, turned out Project Fat Cat turned out all right. So I think we may it was always plush, but we'll see what we got here. So I will get this together. There is all the alloy caps and mounts are out of stock from what I can find. I think I did find some on eBay, so I may have to just pull the trigger, get the alloy caps, and get the mounts, which is really just a bushing. But it's like $14 for 2 bushings. Yeah, whatever. So we'll get that taken care of. Get the Fat Cat out on track, because there is a vintage call out this Saturday. Bring your 2-wheel drive, bring your 4-wheel drive, bring your truck is what's been laid down. And as much as everyone sucks the AA juice there and more, we're going to run the Cougar, give her a little bit of chance at redemption here. See if we got anything for those B3s and stuff running them big bores. So what's going to take? Yokomo did get the ball cup ends for that, so I will switch out the pivot balls on the camber links, and hopefully that tightens that up. And the Yokomo is done. ProTech battery came for that. That thing is ready to go and hit the track. The RC10T is ready to go. Just got to switch out the motor, so I'll solder that in tomorrow night. We'll have all 3 of those cars ready to go. Let's see. Yeah, I do have tires. Got some tires in today. So J Concept Smoothie 3s, which seems to be kind of the choice right now. At least for my vintage cars, it seems to work out pretty well. It seemed to handle a little bit better and be a little bit sharper, I guess, on that end. So, but man, I am stoked on the Cougar. If you attended your live, you know I have a little affection for the Cougar. Look at that thing. So, like I said, we'll do the aluminum caps. We'll do the mounts. I'll cut down these screws. If I can't get the aluminum mounts, I'll cut down the screws so they're flush, like they are on the back, so they don't. So it looks factory. Still have to put a battery set ride height and stuff in here, but I think we're looking pretty good on the Fat Cat. So that's how we're gonna run it, and hopefully, cross your fingers, I can get a hall pass for more. But that should do it, and hopefully that is where we're at. And actually, the shocks are in like the stock positions. I didn't have to change anything, so still middle hole on the bottom, and then the upper hole on the back, or on the front shock tower. On the back, still running the inner mount. And then I think I did change actually the rear mount. So it was on the very kind of inside hole, and I just moved it out to the top one. Still gives me the droop and everything that I had before, because I don't want to, like I said, it handled well before. I didn't want to change that too much, and kept with that. So that should get us hopefully kind of dialed and set, I hope. So Cougar looking good. Man, I love the Cougar. So if you're looking to do this upgrade, the bottom shock part is U8400. Oh, people are going to kill me. I can't remember the shock kits. So the shock kits are about $55. They come, I bought mine off eBay. They're just an LD3 front and rear shock kit. I think there's two different shock kits, right? So there is a Pro, which has like the machine pistons and everything. And then there's like kind of the more budget friendly, which is what these are. So actually the front is a U8652, and I think the rear is an 8653. You know, the difference is they don't come with machine pistons, and they don't have the aluminum shock caps or pivots, which in hindsight, I wish I would have just did that, but we'll get the aluminum pivots and get that taken care of for that. But for now, like I said, I wanted to get them mounted up, kind of mocked up all together, and see how they would work. And they seem to be all right. So, like I said, it kept I wanted to keep the stock droop, or at least where the droop I had it. So like what I did was I mocked up a shock. I kept the stock small bore shock on, and I was just measuring the droop, all that stuff. And this was the closest I could get it. And like I said, I didn't even have to change anything. So it's actually the same mounting points, just using the longer U8400 bottom pivot. Helped out quite a bit. And then, like I said, I did space the bottom out 2 millimeters just to lay that shock back, so it was the same angle it was before. And then that also prevents like the shock collar from hitting the shock tower. Now that you have a bigger bore, you can still adjust these freely without much of an issue. And then, like I said, now I like it so much, I'm gonna just have to get the aluminum pivots along with the shock caps. But lesson learned there on that end. So we'll get those ordered. And like I said, I don't know if they'll be in this week. I'll order them tonight. Cross your fingers. Maybe I can get them before the weekend and switch those out. But I wanted to get them on, get everything mocked up. Now I'm excited. But still plenty of stuff coming to the channel. The next thing on the workbench, fan graphite. Going to block that out. Get the parts I need for our, I don't know if I should call it the Trash Panda build or what, but RC10 there in the back. If you watched our live, we talked a little bit about that. We're going to Trash Panda that thing out and just get that thing together and let people have at it. Got my Yokomo rims, got my tires. I'm going to punch holes in those tonight, set them on the rims, let them settle. I'll glue those up tomorrow and do the pivots on the Yokomo. And man, 91 works. Hitting the track hopefully this weekend. Cougar hitting the track, because let me tell you something. Those Moore kids are nothing but a bunch of AE fanboys. And I know I'm going to show up and there's not going to be one Kyosho, maybe one Losi, and our Schumacher, and then nothing but a fleet of Associated. So we got to take a gun to a knife fight here. See what we can do. Probably going to be tough with Sam Ford there, but we're going to give it a shot, and we'll see what actual improvements big bores make to a vintage vehicle. Because we do have a standard time for the Cougar on this track, and as well as the fan graphite, but we'll see, does it improve? How much does it improve it? And can the Cougar redeem itself and knock the fan RC off the throne? Only one way to find out, and that's to run them. So I will beg my wife to let me go, but we'll see. Again, if you want to see me begging and groveling to my Colombian wife, like, comment, subscribe right down there, and we'll see you on the next one.